Well, I'm gonna hop on the back of my old two-stroke. I'm gonna ride till I can't no more.
Right, the YZ's battery is now charging whilst we ride, so fingers crossed there won't be any more issues with that starter. I don't think there will. It was all perfect inside there. It was just we were completely missing a cable as we showed last episode. And Kynan, 250 bucks later, has an intact Bendix, and now apparently that thing's starting better than ever.
Yeah, there must have been something wrong with it before. So.
Anyway, electric starts are working. Long story short, we're back out into the forest to do the testing that I was so excited about telling you about at the beginning of that last episode, and figure out where this YZ's still falling short compared to the Husky so that we can address it and then compare them blow for blow. Let's get into it.
Righto.
Here goes then. Time to find out just how far we've come. And, rather more worryingly, how much further we've got left to go.
Yeah, well that didn't work really, did it? It just died on the log.
If I can do any better. No.
Mate, you're supposed to get to it before you crash.
Have the crash first.
Oh, right. And now you won't crash on the log?
No, it'll be all sweet.
Oh.
Clearly, we were dealing with a master of his craft. Because he was bloody right. And with my crash out of the way, I was able to hit the log again. This time, without a shred of fear crossing my mind. But, whilst that worked great, it wasn't all sunshine and roses.
The mid-range, you sort of skip it. It doesn't really exist. You're either in the bottom end or you're in the top end. There's nothing in between. I'm not entirely sure what to do about that.
And that wasn't the only problem either. In this tight and technical terrain, the YZ's rigid motocross suspension was a nightmare. Making any measure of precision impossible.
Right, switch bikes. I'm on the Husky now, Kynan's on the YZ. This will be your first drive with it with an electric start.
Yeah, yep, and a bit of a heavier flywheel weight, which is what I was complaining about the first time.
Yeah, a little bit. We'll see how you go.
Starts good. Already I can tell it's a bit better, Doesn't pull off the bottom quite as nice as mine, but it's not too bad. Quite smooth at least.
YZ sort of skips it. Oh, get out. I was like, why is he not stalling it? You hear what I'm saying about how the mid-range is just sort of alert?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
it's like
real
a
dull
ting,
in the
ting, ting,
mid,
ting. It's not something you can use.
Yeah.
And when you get between gears, which you do, it makes it quite difficult to ride.
Yeah. And then it's like quite snappy down low as well, I found.
Yeah, it is quite snappy.
Like you give it just a little bit more throttle and it just starts to try and spin the wheel even like on something slippery, you know?
Yeah, this thing's just like that. Mid-range I find is such an advantage. I used it like 2 or 3 times. I'm like, I was coming out of a tight corner. I've been used to the YZ today and I'm like, oh, it's not really going to pull properly out of here. I'll get into that weird mid-range.
Yeah.
This thing just rolls on like a 4-stroke and it's like, oh, I need that.
Sort of figured out why I always ride this bad too. It's because the front's deflecting so much because it's so stiff. Find myself looking right there, looking for all the little rocks and to try and avoid them. So I'm just sort of, you know, have no idea where I'm going because I'm not looking where I'm going. Just end up suddenly at a turn without even seeing it. So it's actually rideable now really and stuff like this.
It's a diamond in the rough, I think. Like, is a good way to describe it. And we've done enough now where you can be like, oh,
yeah,
but there's still a ways to go.
Yeah.
As we rode on into the afternoon, it became clearer and clearer that the Yamaha was landslides ahead of where it began. Conversely, however, the Husqvarna remained an incredibly strong package. On these trails, I was struck all over again by just how good these things are. The YZ had come a long way, no doubt, but it hadn't arrived at this level just yet. In fact, it still had a fair distance left to go.
God, this Husky is a bloody good bike.
Then, as if to pour salt into this grim realization, on our way back to the vehicles, my trusty old YZ threw me another curveball.
I'm out of fuel.
Really? Oh.
Yep.
Oh wow. The old KTM Killer, you say?
You're gonna get the tow rope. He's not coming back, is he? It is a long way to the car. Oh well. And so my walk begins. What's happened there really is I've got a smaller fuel tank than he's got, and he's got fuel injection, so it's way more efficient. My bike's probably burning fuel at twice the rate. I'm gonna have to address that as well.
This was turning out to be far harder than I could have anticipated. So, later that same night, I got back to the drawing board. Alright, so the fuel tank, that's easy. A few companies make bigger ones for exactly this reason, and they all just about double the stock capacity, which is to be expected really. The YZ was only ever designed to go half an hour at a time in anger because a motocross race is only ever half an hour long, whereas of course us doing enduro,
we want to go a lot further than that. So I'm going to order one of these. And whilst that is going to solve our range issue, it's not going to do anything about our efficiency crisis.
I set about scrolling through forums on the off chance that a fix for this too existed. And remarkably,
I think it will actually be possible to get this thing, if not as efficient as the electronically injected KTMs, then at least a lot closer than it is. But it's not going to come cheap. We're going to have to do away with the entire standard carburetor in favour of one of these more sophisticated aftermarket ones. There's a few different options, but the cream of the crop seems to be this, the Smart Carb SC2. And we really do need to be going with the cream of the crop if we're to compete with that Husky, especially on this part, because if it does what it says on the tin, it should not only sort out our efficiency, but also solve our mid-range issue, which will be a massive, massive improvement. So I'm going to order one of these too, but look here. The shipping cost is $125 US for a part like this big. And not only that, but before, the fuel tank company quoted me $133 for that. All I can say is, thank f we've got ship it too. Look here, if I just enter my Sweets address instead, yep, they'll send it there for bugger all. Then Ship It To will unbox all of the products, show me pictures of them so that I can check that they're undamaged and the correct products, and then they'll rebox it all back up into one big consolidation for me and send it on for, let me just calculate this. $180. So that's what, $80 US cheaper, and it'll be here in 2 to 4 business days. What the f? It's like I said before, you'd be crazy not to send it with Ship It To. And don't forget to use my affiliate link either in the description down below this video, which will save you a further 15% off your first order, which would bring that down to like $160. Well then, I'll see you guys again in 2 to 4 business days. As you can see, I've taken the liberty of stripping the bike down in preparation for the new parts to arrive, and I've also ripped the suspension out and sent that away to Moto SR in Taupo, who are the country's most renowned suspension gurus. More on that later. Now though, we've got some parts to fit, because I've got with me an IMS 12 litre endurance fuel tank, and of course the star of today's show, a Smart Carb SC2, aka the most advanced carburetor money can buy. Let's get into it. Alright, I'm going to start with this. I was flying solo today too. A great idea. Yada yada yada, we've done that. Smart Carb inspection. Checking the needle valve. The needle valve is opening and closing properly, that it has not become stuck. Hold the Smart Carb upright and gently blow into the fuel inlet. Air should flow through the fuel inlet with ease, confirming that the needle valve is open. There's no air going through that. God damn it. Oh, wait, I know. This is not the fuel inlet. I don't know what that is. It's fuel hose, so I was like, well, this must be where the fuel goes in, but the fuel's not going to go up. It's going to go down. Sadly though, I was blowing into the throttle cable hole now. But on the bright side, it was at least enough to convince me that the needle valve, whatever that is, wasn't stuck, and I could therefore move on to step 2, where my confusion only worsened.
Why does it come all together if you have to take it apart?
I don't know, I suppose we'll find out. Loosen the cable guide free play adjustment lock nut in the cap. What the f is the cable guide? I don't know what I'm looking at. I still don't know if I was blowing into the right hole before. Now I'm wondering if that's where the fuel goes in.
Bingo. At this point, I was starting to have second thoughts about tackling this day on my own. What I really needed was a dinosaur that could make sense of this primitive technology. And then, one appeared.
Oh,
They assumed that a mechanic's doing the job.
well, yeah, exactly. That's what I mean. Like, there's no mention of this washer after this picture of where it's supposed to go.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, what the hell?
Having grown up when two-strokes and pterodactyls ruled the world, he got stuck right in with deft familiarity.
Mine was in the other hole still.
Yeah, like you come down that hole, but and then
yeah,
go
mine
back
didn't
up
go
that one.
across.
Yeah, that was just a bit of bad luck.
What's it better? Install the carburetor like back to front somehow, and it starts pouring fuel into the airbox. Oh, that wasn't stressful at all. I assume you sort of sit that back in place. The throttle must be able to fully open and close freely throughout the handlebar range. Oh yeah, that's kind of pulling that way. Are you able to give it a little bit more free play?
You can do it at the throttle end or the carb end, do it wherever you like.
Well, I was hoping he'd do it. I don't actually know how.
Yeah, that's super simple.
Is it though? Is it?
It's super simple. The first thing we hear.
Oh, he just cut and then his was on. I could do that. I know how to cut as well. As far as you know, he was throwing the spanners across the workshop and that while he was trying to fit his, and he's like, got it all mounted up, that was super simple.
After a long time though.
There you go, I got those rubber things on top now. I think that's pretty bloody good. Yep, I'm happy with that.
So I did what I should have done ages ago.
I think I'm done. I'm done with these instructions. I should never have even looked at them. Okay, and now we just need to pop my new fuel tank on. Oh, I got it. I wasn't expecting to get that.
Would you like a sticker?
Possibly.
Whilst you'd never claim it went smoothly,
Oh wow, this fuel tank does... Oh, I know what it is, damn it. It reuses everything from the stock tank. It's got nothing on it.
unburdened by vague instruction manuals, I was finally making some decent progress. And past time too, because we still had a lot to get done by day's end.
Let me get that out of the road for... Oh. I've fitted up all of the accessories to the fuel tank. Now we just need to fit it to the bike. Good save. Would have been many confusion over that. Oh, and I just spilled fuel all over the instructions. Because there was fuel in the...
It's gonna rip it.
I hate those instructions anyway. Feels good. Oh, damn it. Why am I so strong?
Your undies are showing.
Yeah, well, I always like to get my undies out in these videos. Little something for the ladies, you know?
After I'd served my punishment for making that comment, it was time for the next upgrade.
Da-da-da-da. The new side stand from YZ250X. This is going to be a vast improvement. Oh, this is just a YZ250X stand kit. There's literally a kit for it. And I assumed it would just bolt right onto the YZ250 because they're pretty much the same bike. But I guess I just didn't do my research and I never found out that apparently on the YZ250X, the side stand bracket also holds the chain roller
on this left-hand side, not this little sticky outy bit coming off the back of the frame here. So that little sticky outy bit is blocking this from going on, and obviously would block you from being able to mount the chain slider as well. It never crossed my mind that this wouldn't fit, but there you go. And it's like I said last episode, this is, you know, you can make a case for this not being worth it for stuff like this. You're going to run into problems like this when you're building a bike. It's the nature of it, whereas obviously when you buy one, the manufacturer dealt with that stuff.
As I battled on through what could only be described as an up and down day at best, my suspension was on its way back from the North Island, which was a big deal because outside of new tyres, suspension setup has the biggest effect on any bike to you as the rider. And in this regard, our 13-year-old YZ has a great deal of potential. But I'll let Scotty explain why.
Triple S suspension is some of the best suspension on the market. It really, really is. So it's pretty, I don't want to say easy, but it's, as a starting point, it's pretty awesome really. It's simple and it works. The forks are 2 springs, compression where it should be, rebound adjustment where it should be. So basically to set them up, generally you run the correct spring rate is really important, and then custom revalve and other upgrades from there. From motocross to an off-road rider, yeah, it's very different. We want to make it firm yet plush really. That's typical for a trail or cross-country rider. In this situation we want to make it more hard enduro/enduro, so we'll probably put it a little bit more on the plush side to beat a standard EXC. That shouldn't really be too hard. Typically EXCs, as any owner should know, is quite soft, especially in the front. So I mean, if you brake hard or maybe hit a small stone, you're possibly going to bottom the forks or go over the handlebars. So yeah, even if you're just doing hard enduro and going down a steepish hill and braking, that can be quite unsettling, and to the point where it doesn't give you much confidence even under braking. So, you know, I mean, it's nice, it's an awesome bike, but there's lots of room for improvement. There really, really is. Internal setup really, so again we're talking about spring rates, oil heights, and then the actual configuration of the shim stack for compression and rebound. And this is really the art of what we do. It comes from a lot of experience and feedback from riders, also working with RG3 and other companies to, you know, gather the right information and take that and give the customer what they want. So your bike now, I'm very confident that what we've done to the suspension is going to be far superior to a standard EXC.
I did tell you I'd get to aesthetics eventually. What have I created?